Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mikhail, and welcome to yet another Misfits Racing League broadcast. This is round number 19 of 22 for MRL season number 4. It is, of course, the Americas division, and well, we're going to what will be a lot of drivers' home race here around the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. And joining me for once, it's not the stars, but it's my other fellow countryman, Mr. Sebastian. Seb, how are you doing today on what is for us quite a chilly Wednesday morning?
Well, I've just woken up, but I am quite good. How are you yourself, Mikhail?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Now, even though these two championships have been wrapped up, there is still a whole lot to play for, and we'll get into that before we see these drivers go into an 18-minute qualifying session followed by a 28-lap race. So, Circuit of the Americas for the 19th round of this one, 5.5 kilometers, 3.4 miles, 20 turns, two very, very crucial DRS zones into heavy braking zones. Hopefully seeing a lot of overtakes into this one. And we have that blind apex of turn number 1 as well that the drivers will need to deal with, as well as the very, very technical first and third sectors. Now, we'll look at the calendar just a little bit. But firstly, a massive shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing. You saw the little ad in the intro if you're looking to take your sim racing experience to the next level. Exclamation mark NLR in chat to get a link to their website. They've got some great sim rigs, motion sims, and that. And it's only 1 week. 1 week left to sign up for the Misfits Grand Championship exclamation mark event in the chat as well. And you can, if you participate and watch the stream, you'll have a chance to win an FGT light rig from our lovely partners, Next Level Racing. So an FGT light rig, fully free, and just exclamation mark event to get more details on that. But now, Seb, 19 rounds into this one, we've already been to Australia, Bahrain, Vietnam, China, the Netherlands, Spain, Monaco, Azerbaijan, Canada, France, Austria, Silverstone in the United Kingdom, and then Hungary, Belgium, Italy, Singapore, Russia, and then Japan last week, where Williams and Becky B were able to take the drivers and constructors championships. We are here, of course, round number 19, USA, and then we go next week to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. I hope I said that okay for the Mexican Grand Prix, and then Brazil and Abu Dhabi to round off the season. And just before we get things underway, so we should have a quick look at the current drivers standing. So like we said before, Becky B is now the Americas Division Drivers Championship, Drivers Champion. Sejos can no longer catch him. And the same with Williams and the Constructors, but there's still a whole lot to play for that runner-up spot, especially Sejos. He's been on great form recently. He's actually overtaken Yama, the other Williams car, for that second place. Only 3 points between them on 168 to 165 respectively. And you can't forget about Rhapsody, the flying Brazilian, in that Mercedes with 147 points there in 4th position. BTFU currently sitting in 5th for the AlphaTauri squad with 128 points. Quite a large margin between himself and Arnhel. So I think that 5th place is pretty safe for now. But, anything could happen. Of course, BTFU could have a few tough races for the remaining few, and then Arnhel can really flourish. But Arnhel has to look behind him for Zamis in that Ferrari, 77 points in 7th place. And then we have a large scrap for the, what is 8th place now, Seb. Karma with 47 points for Haas. Casquito with 44, tied with Maxime B in 9th and 10th for Renault and McLaren, respectively. And Chris as well, the newcomer who's shown a lot of pace recently. A few unlucky races, but we saw that dominant win in Singapore. He's on 40 points in 11th. Then we have Vischer in 12th with 35 points. Gabox in 13th with 29, 1 point ahead of Gabbiza. The Red Bulls and Alfa Romeo's having, quite the rivalry this season. At least in the latter half, we have Gabox, Gabbiza, and then we have Holtzman and Fizimon. Fizimon also tied with Giza, the new Mercedes edition, with 21 points to his name. Cheery with 15 in 18th place. Twinkie with 12 points in 19th. And Stryfium rounds off this grid in position number 20. Let's see if he's able to score a couple more points this evening. Now, I do believe we are almost just about ready to get things underway. But Seb, tell us a little bit about this Circuit of the Americas. It can be quite the challenge, especially for the track limits. And those softs, they really start to overheat up the few laps, eh?
Yeah, you're exactly right. This is a twisty and turny circuit. Although we have those big straights, you have overtaking opportunities into turns 12 and turns 1, but you can catch some people by surprise into turn 11. You also have that, obviously, the big S section of sector 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Some people will say it flows, some people will say it's not a great section, but at the end of the day, if you can keep up with competitors through there, you have a great chance of making some moves down later in the circuit.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The beeps are ready, which means we are just about ready to get into this action for the 19th round of the season. I do believe we also have the full 20 drivers, a couple of reserves on this grid. We'll go through those in just a moment. But Seb, even though the championship's wrapped up, there's still a whole lot of positions to play for. Becky B, we were talking to him last week after he won the championship, even though he had quite a disappointing Suzuka race, akin to some other champions, Lewis Hamilton. But, you know, no, even though he's been on a rough form as of late, and really getting that solid gap early in the season, really helping in his championship, he said he really wants to finish strong because he's aiming for that tier 1 spot next season. And he certainly earned it with his performances this game, but tier 1 is a tough grid, man. Tier 1, basically, borderline esports pace for these guys. And he said he really wants to finish strong. So how do you, after a season that has been as turbulent as Becky B's, even though you are the champion, the champion, and you want to keep pushing forward, what needs to be your mentality going into these final few rounds?
You need to take every race as it comes. One race at a time is always how you should be racing, because you never want to look ahead. Ideally, he needs to build momentum, and if something does happen that goes bad, he just needs to try and make the most of it and get the most out of what has happened to him. I mean, he's a fast driver, and I believe that Chris is matching him on pace. I could be very wrong, though. Chris, a newcomer, he's had 2 podiums and a win from his 2 starts, but it's all down to just making sure he builds that momentum into next season, because it's very key that you have a great finish. Otherwise, you go into this break and you're just thinking, what what do I do from here? You become a bit less motivated to race more, practice more, and it can hurt your momentum into the next season.
Well, clear skies here in Austin for qualifying at least. We'll hopefully get a weather report soon, whether that be in the Twitch chat or otherwise. But we'll just go through this grid and the 20 drivers that will be fronting this grid. So Maxime B in that McLaren currently top of the timing sheets with no time set, obviously, as we have just started the session. But Maxime B up there in McLaren. We have Gabism in that Red Bull. There we have Melek in the Racing Point filling in for, I believe that is Arnhel. So he will be partnering up Chris for this evening. Becky B, the championship winner, coming out of the pits second only behind his teammate. He's the one in 4th place on this timing tower. Chris in 5th for that Racing Point. Captain Minor filling in Red Bull in 6th place. Larkin in 7th for Renault. BTFU in 8th for AlphaTauri. Sejos in 9th for McLaren, and Zamis in that Ferrari in that 10th spot at the moment. Then we have S King, in the reserve for the AlphaTauri once again, a full-time driver at the start of the season. Unfortunate to see him go. He really was up there challenging Becky B in the earliest parts of the season. Let's see if he's able to he has been able to maintain that pace over his hiatus. He'll be reserving in that AlphaTauri car alongside BTFU. Yama fighting with Sejos for that runners-up spot in the Drivers' Championship. He is currently 12th on this timing tower, and he's the first one who will be going on a flying lap of the Circuit of the Americas. We'll go look at this lovely Sofina Williams car. Chiri in the Haas for 13th of the Spaniard, trying to really step up his form after a couple of tough races recently. Fritzen reserving in that Mercedes for Giza, I do believe. Casquito in that Renault in 15th. Karma in 16th for the Haas. Holtz in 17th for Alfa Romeo. Then we have Rhapsody, Gabox, and Stryfium rounding off this grid in the Mercedes, the Alfa Romeo, and the Ferrari, respectively. Now, Seb, I don't know exactly. Are you in the session?
I am in the session.
All right, well, take us around a lap with Alex Yamamoto in this Williams car of Circle of the Americas, if you please.
Well, he's just already gone through turn 1 and he's fleeing through turn 2. Now, this is the fun part, or the most terrifying part of the whole circuit. Fight the rear end of the car as you balance the steering wheel through these tight S section 4, 5, 6 now. get slowly onto the throttle. Be careful not to light up the rears and go too wide and invalidate your lap on 9. Now we're going through 10, which isn't much of a corner. Prepare yourself for turn 11. Brake on the curbs, get it down to second gear, and you want to short shift out of turn 11. And traction is everything here. This is a long straight. Now you get time to relax. Let those tyres rest a bit. How are you going to approach this last sector? So you go difficult 13, 14, 15, 16. That's that double right and double left are coming up. Brake at that F1 2020 sign on the right hand side, turn in, cut the curb a little, and slowly go to the traction. This is very tough now. Slowly unwind the car out of 13 through 14, keep it as tight as possible. You want a wide entry for 15 and 16, that way you do not lock up the brakes, and you also get a good run out of 16. Now 17, 18, you want to keep as tight to the inside as possible to save time and save the amount of track you cover. 19, brake at that box on the right hand side, get it down to 5th and go all the way up to 7th, braking down to 3rd. This guy stays in 4th, Yamamoto, and this should be a decent lap.
Yes, it is a 1 minute 29.809 to start us off for Yama, and it's a pretty decent lap. We'll see what his teammate is able to do as he is coming across the line just behind him. But what can the championship winner, our champion, do? It's a 1 minute 29.545, so 2.5 tenths between the two Williams cars at the moment. Rhapsody will slot into 3rd on those mediums at 1 minute 31.029. We'll now jump on board, I do believe, Chris, who is showing us a lot of pace. We saw how dominant he was at Singapore with a lead of what I believe was close to 20 seconds at one point. But here he goes through the final couple of corners now through turn 20. What's the time going to be? It is provisional pole at the moment for 1 minute 29.489. And, well, Becky definitely had to work hard effort. Captain Minor has retired, it looks like, at turn 18, Seb.
Turn 18. Wonder if he's just dropped it on the curb or something like that. I'll try and see if I can get the track up, have a look, but that's an odd spot to do it considering you are very much in control of the car, especially in this game. You're not fighting a lot unless you have an extremely rear heavy setup.
Yeah, so that Red Bull reserve driver will be starting at the back of this grid. Very unfortunate to see. I know he was quite looking forward to this race to make up for the America's Tier 2 race that he participated in. Of course, if you haven't seen that, check out the YouTube channel after this one, of course. Maxime B, we just rode on board with him for the last few corners. He came across the line in 7th place with 1 minute 30.476. The times already being very close on this grid. Fritzen in that Mercedes was able to slow himself right behind Becky B for the 1 minute 29.579. 300ths of a second between those two fighting for that front row position. But Chris, even though it's not the largest of gaps, he does have that advantage over Becky B in this first run. Have a look at Karma now as he's making his way through the first set of lap on the medium compound tires. So we're seeing a lot of drivers opt for these mediums on this first run, really just trying to get an iron because they won't overheat as much of the softs. And I'm pretty sure that the discussion among the community has been that the medium soft is actually the better strategy compared to the soft medium, because since there's the lighter car at the end of the race, you get to really utilize those soft compound tires just a little bit more, and they have a little bit more life left in them. But we'll see what the Haas guys are able to do at the team's home race, even though there are no Americans in those Haas cars. You know, it's still nice to see. We saw Maka take a nice win in Tier 3 a few hours ago, so we'll see if the Haas guys are able to keep this momentum going. Karma making his way through to purple sector 2, apparently. Knowing the game, it isn't always entirely accurate, but into turn 15 now. Chooses to go very quickly up into 4th gear. So very interesting gear selection there. He's able to get the exit that he needs, but we'll see how much grip these mediums provide through the last couple of corners. This is where the softs really come in handy because you're able to just really push the car to its limits a lot easier and just be on the edge of grip. Very nicely done indeed. But it is 13th for the Argentine. Pretty sure that's how you say it, but we'll press on. And he's just behind BTF here, only just under a tenth of a second between those two. A 1 minute 31.294 for the Haas driver, so very nicely done indeed. And I do believe S-King is currently the only other driver on a flying lap with Larkin just starting in front of him. But Seb, let's see how the AlphaTauri reserve goes through these final couple of corners. Oh, never mind, he's cut turn 19 a hell of a lot, and that is going to be an aborted lap. And that's the thing that you risk because that sector 1, you know, everyone expects it. Oh yeah, it's tight. There's a single line through it, and you have to really be on the edge of grip, really push the car as much as you can through that section. Yeah, you can invalidate there. But you make it through that, you make it through the second sector, and you make it all the way to the penultimate corner, and that's a corner that can really catch you up, because turn in too early, you're going to cut the corner and you have to correct, and that's an invalidation. Turn in too late, and you're going to run wide on the exit, and that's also a very, very strict track limit in this game.
You're exactly right. Turn 19, there's a lot of time to gain. So if you nail it, you are gaining a lot of tenths on your competitors if they don't nail it. But it's also a very risky one, as you said. You have to take a bit of inside curb, but also you can't get on the throttle too early, otherwise you just wash out, as well as carrying too much speed. So it's a fine balancing act of risk versus reward through turn 19, but it's down to these drivers to show their skill. If they have enough skill, they'll nail it most of the times.
Well, we'll see if Larkin has enough skill. He is currently the next one to finish a flying lap through 18, now into the dreaded turn 19 that we were just talking about. Nope, he doesn't have the skill, Seb. He's cut it just like SK before him. So he's going straight back into the pit lane, which is very, very unfortunate.
It just looked like he didn't carry enough speed through the entry of it. He got too much grip, and it just meant he obviously cut the corner on the inside, got too much inside curb. Obviously, that's why he invalidated. Obviously, a lot of these drivers just in the pits before, they'll be going out for their second run and starting it now.
Yeah, we'll have a look. I do believe Rhapsody would be the next one to finish a flying lap. So we'll currently go on board with the Mercedes driver, getting a tiny bit of slipstream there from Holtzman, who's currently on his out lap. I don't know exactly how much that would have benefited the Brazilian, but you know, anything counts, you know, anything goes. He was a very, very big brain, if I'm allowed to use that term, on stream last week in Suzuka in those changeable conditions, which basically didn't shift the entire race. But he made the call to stay out on those slicks, stay out on those mediums, when basically all the drivers except for Zamis went into the pits for intermediate tires. And but he stuck it out on the mediums, and in the end they were the faster cars. But you can see that correction through turn 19. It's really catching out some of the drivers there. But he's able to... Oh, my God, that Mercedes is all over the place. But it is good enough for 5th place. But I don't know if he'll be too happy with that one. Because he is behind his reserve teammate. A 1:29.704, 200th of a second between himself and Sejos, who has just started a flying lap behind him. And while that was going on, Seb, Yama, who is fighting for that runner-up spot to finish 1-2 with his teammate, up into 3rd, but 4th. Now as Fritzen drops the gauntlet, 2.5 tenths.
You could just tell Rhapsody knew straight away once he turned into 19 that he was going to cut that corner. It's quick thinking from him to be able to save that lap, but he should have one more lap in this session to maybe fix that error. Fritzen with a rather good time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very,
2.5 tenths quicker than Chris's.
Very, very strong time.
Yeah, expect Chris to match though. I've got high praise for him. I've been lucky enough to race with him a couple of times in open lobbies, in long races, and he has impressed me. So he's one of the few guys I've been able to watch in this America's tier, and he should be on for a good one.
Yes, we'll keep an eye on how Chris does on his next attempt. I actually do believe he might have nope, he's just gone provisional pole, Seb. A 1:29.111. So that's just over a 10th of a second between himself and Fritzen. And can we see a 28? I think we can see a 28. The track record here currently a 28.980, I do believe. But we'll see. We're right back on board with Sejos as he makes his way through turn 19. And he's right on the edge of it. He's absolutely nailed it, but he has been down in that second sector split. You can see if that has made up any time. It has. And it's enough to jump a position, but it's only 5th place for the McLaren driver, Seb, at 1:29.657.
I just noticed that his ERS deployment for the lap had not been fully depleted as he was crossing the line, so I'm just thinking he hasn't fully utilized that ERS deployment throughout the lap, as he's had a bit to spare. Normally you want to, have it depleted just as you're exiting out of this final corner, turn 20, because it's not that big of a run to the start-finish line here.
Well, S-King, showing that he has lost absolutely no pace whatsoever, jumps into 3rd place at 1:29.322 for the reserve AlphaTauri driver. And he's no stranger to that car. We'll see what his teammate, BTFU, can do at his home race. I think he might be one of the closest ones to the actual circuit, but there we go. Ninth place for the other AlphaTauri driver, 1 minute 29.929. So he's into the 29s, which is the first step. And he's, right now we've got first all the way down to 10th in the second. Well, actually down to 12th. Count down to Maxime B. But then you have this massive gap between Maxime B and Holt of almost 9/10 of a second. So hopefully we'll be able to see that one close in and some drivers fill into that one. And speaking of drivers filling into that gap, it is Gabism. The 1 minute 30.696 to drop that bar just a little bit further. So a very, very nice effort there from the Red Bull driver. But currently, just under 5 minutes left in the session. If you're just joining us, this is round number 19 of MRL season number 4. My name is Mikhail. Joining me is my fellow countryman Seb for this occasion. I do believe so. This might actually be the first time we've commentated a race together. We've been on track quite a few times, but nice to have you here in the booth with me, my friend, as Larkin comes across the line. 13th place for the Renault driver, 1 minute 30.520.
Yeah, that's alright time. 35.5. He's going to want more from that though. He's obviously a fair bit off Maxime B for P12. But he does also have that one more run, as I said before, to make things right. Obviously Stryfium and Captain Minor, the only two to not set a lap time. Captain Minor, who obviously DNF'd earlier on in the session at turn 18. Bit of a doozy, but he'll have to make up for it in the race.
Well, he will be on that alternate strategy, and, if things go his way with safety cars particularly, he could really slingshot him up quite a few positions, as Casquizo Sleeky Bear slingshotting up. We'll see how he goes on his next flying lap attempt. Currently 8th place for the Renault driver, the Renault race winner. In fact, he's showed a lot of promise when he first joined here around midway through the season, around Silverstone. A very, very, very nice win there from the young Renault driver. But ever since then, Seb, he hasn't really quite been able to find that same magic, that same pace that has slingshot him all the way up there. He's had a couple of decent points finishes, but nothing really standing out as opposed to the 2 podiums that he got on his first 2 races. There's a Ferrari around. Is that Stryfium? No, it's not Stryfium. It is Zamis getting out of the way for Stryfium. But yeah, Stryfium as well. He's got a few points. The only really highlight of the season is Baku, where he actually, I think, got all those 6 points with an 8th place or 7th place, something like that. So one very, very solid race in Baku. But ever since then, he's been close to points a couple of times. But particularly one round that stands out to me is Hungary, where he just, made a mistake in that final lap. And that cost him some crucial points. But we'll see what he's able to do. Maybe bounce back. And yeah, I think he'll only have enough time to get this run in. So this is it for the Ferrari driver as he makes the way into the final sector now.
Yeah, he's going to have to make the most of it. This is a tough circuit for any driver. It requires a lot of precision, sharp driving, as well as being smooth, which is always a weird mix. And when you get that mix, it normally gets the best drivers well ahead of the average ones. And fortunately for Striff, he's got to pull something together here. He's a great guy, great to talk to a lot of the times, but he's just never really pulled together on track. He's had those moments, hasn't he? You said Baku, even Hungary, there was a chance there, and then that chaotic race, what a race that was to watch. Lucky enough to witness it, and you were lucky enough to call it, I believe.
Yeah, it was one of the historic ones, one of the MRL classics, as I like to say. But Becky B, currently 5th place, the champion, of this division, of this grid, wants to show that, no, I've still got it. He's still got the pace to really fight for those wins. He's only had 1 win in, I believe, the past 13, 12-ish races. So we'll see what he's able to do. He might actually get a bit of a slipstream here from Gabism, who's just ahead of him. We'll see what happens, but he has a snap out of turn 11, Seb. That's not going to be ideal, but he is going to maybe make some of this time up with that nice slipstream from the Red Bull in front of him. But he's coming up to a lot of traffic in this final sector.
Yeah, a lot of guys looking like they're about to start their laps. Got a nice tow from that Red Bull though. Don't often see other teams helping each other out. Oh, he's fighting the car, isn't he? Look at that slide out of 14. He's going to have to compose himself now. Make sure those tires aren't too hot from the amount of wheel spin he's got out of 11 and 14.
Well,
Looks
here's
like
the
he has.
test. Here's the test,
Yeah,
isn't
here's
it,
a
Seb?
test.
Turn 19. Oh my goodness.
Oh, he's gone too wide.
He's gone too wide. He's carried too much, and that is an aborted lap. And that is going to be it. But I think he actually might be trying to go again. I think he's trying to go again. He's made the clock. As the checkered flag now drops, so
He's pulled
Cheery will
out.
be the first one to go. But yes, he's cooked to those tires, and that is going to be it. We'll see what Fritzen does. Currently in second place. Has he found the time? He has, and it's a 1 minute 28.906. Hello, that's 2/10 clear of Chris, who is now coming down the back straight into the final set of the lap. So all eyes on this racing point, and also on the AlphaTauri, who is behind him going down the back straight. These two probably the most likely to be able to challenge that pole position. Chris needs to find just over 2/10 of a second through this final sector. He has a little bit of a snap out from the rear of that racing point, but you can see that car just wants to turn, Seb, through the triple apex of 16, 17, and 18 into 19 now. It's turned. It's so hooked up to this track. One corner to go. Is it going to be enough? Is the American going to get pole position as his home track? No! No, it's not.
Half a tenth.
Half a tenth away. But he will settle for second best. Let's see how S-King does through the final few corners, Seb.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Chris was just a bit... Oh, King is invalid on the inside, but Chris was just that tad bit too wide. He didn't absolutely nail it perfectly. He did nail the corner, but wasn't perfect. That would have cost him half a tenth. And maybe that half a tenth was what separated pole between him and Fritzen at the moment.
Yes, Sejos as well, slingshotting up into fourth place. Quite a gap between himself and Yama, who has aborted his lap, it would seem. And I do believe there's only a couple of the drivers to come across this start-finish line. Actually, no, I think that's everyone. I do believe, Seb, that is qualifying done and dusted. So in this fight for second, right, in the championship, Sejos in fourth, Yama in eighth. They can't forget about Rhapsody in fifth either. But, Chris, he did all he could, but in the end, pole will go to Fritzen in that Mercedes. And, of course, we're no stranger to seeing Mercedes on pole position. But in this division in MRL Americas, it has been a little bit of a while. But Fritzen, the reserve driver, showing that he has got some serious pace, and that's just going to send a chill down the spines of Chris and Becky B, as well as S-King. They're doing it very, very well there. But half a tenth is the gap between Fritzen and Chris, those two, Mercedes and Mercedes Jr. on the front row of the grid. S-King reserving for that AlphaTauri will be in the third place, with C just alongside him on that second row. Rhapsody, the Brazilian, after his win last week out, he will start fifth in that Mercedes car. Zamis will line up alongside him in sixth place. Becky B, the champion of this grid, will line up alongside his teammate in seventh and eighth. Cosquito in ninth. BTFU will round up the top 10 for the second AlphaTauri car. And of course, we will go through the rest of this grid on the formation lap. But Seb, if this qualifying is anything to go by, it is anybody's race. Anybody's at all.
Oh, for sure. And considering how close Chris and Fritzen are, if there is a potential chance they have a clash together, we could see this race go up to another level than it already has so far. We're only in qualifying at the moment.
Yes, Chris is hoping that he will put what happened in Russia behind him. He had a very, very strong qualifying performance there as well, but that first lap just had a little bit of contact with, I believe it might have been one of the Mercs, so correct me if I'm wrong there, but he definitely had contact with someone which led to a very, very early retirement, which was unfortunate to see, especially you know, with the safety car coming out later in that race. But it's been sort of very hot, very, very cold for Chris in this one. He's always been there or thereabouts in qualifying. But in the races, it's either he has a very dominant performance like he did in Singapore, or he gets caught up in accidents or makes a wrong strategy call like he did in Russia and Japan the last two rounds respectively. So we'll see if he's able to really compose himself for this 28-lap race, as the cars are now just about to go on their formation lap. And there we go. We'll just get everything set up and talk us through the tires on this back 10, Seb. It's easily going to be the hardest thing in the world, but you know, a lot of those guys going for the mediums.
Yeah, mediums tend to be the best tire end here. They provide sufficient grip while also not overheating like the softs do. Softs tend to go off in about 4 or 5 laps around here, especially it's not necessarily overheating that will kill it. It's more the tire wear plus the slightly higher temperatures than the tires should be at during this race. As you see, Churi, one guy on the softs in the bottom 10.
Yeah, so he's obviously looking to make up some track position early. Even though you can overtake here, well, many of the tracks on this game, that DRS train can be very, very hard to really move yourself up through the carriages if you're going to use that metaphor. But there we go. We'll run through this grid one more time. So Fritzen on pole position for Mercedes. Chris lining up alongside him in that racing point. And then S King and CJOS 3-4. Rhapsody, Zamas 5-6. The two Williams guys of Becky B and Yama 7-8. Cosquito in 9th and BCFU in 10th. And then the first of the medium runners and the first outside the top 10, it is Maxime B in that second McLaren car in 11th. Gabox in 12th. Gabizum in 13th. Chiri, the only soft runner outside the top 10. He's in 14th. The Spaniard looking to make up some early positions ahead of Holtzman, who starts on the mediums in 15th place for Alfa Romeo. Melek in 16th for the Racing Point. He will be reserving there. Larkin in 17th. Strippium in 18th. Karma in 19th. And Captain Minor, who had that unfortunate accident in qualifying, will start 20th and last on this grid. But Seb, these guys are making their way through the final couple of corners now. What is going through your head, especially if you're this Racing Point who will line up on, I do believe, on the inside for this grid?
He's just looking for a good launch. Maybe send one into turn 1. Turn 1 is very wide on entry and narrows a lot. So you can really get away with absolutely sending one. Fritzen's goal here should be to cut off Chris's line and just make that inside line his own. But it's all about controlling those nerves, not getting too jittery. Be calm. Look at those lights, but don't stare at them. It's going to be a good one, Mick. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's certainly shaping up to really entertaining race as Captain Minor takes his spot on the grid. We just wait for all the drivers to sync up, get shuffled into their spots, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in America. It is lights out and away we go, and that is a very quick light. But Fritzen, he's done exactly what you said, Sam. He's covered off that inside line. Chris will have to find another way around as Rhapsody in that Mercedes looking up the inside. He is a little bit squirrely. All these cars just trying to make their way through turn 1 cleanly. But here is the real test, the S section for the first time. We're now right on board with CJOS to make his way through. No dramas in the front part of the grid. There's side-by-side action between Gabby Zim and Maxime B down there in 11th and 12th. And these guys are really scrapping it out at the moment. We'll have a quick look at the position changes already. So Yama already up 2 positions. Becky down 1. Zamas down 1. Gabby up 2, as is Holtz. And Karma up 3 off that start. But Chiri not getting off to the greatest start there, Seb.
No, entirely. It's all at the back. I just saw Melek run into the back of Stoltz at 13, 14, 15 position. Lost the bread in front wing, but yeah, that was just about to the T how I thought it would plan out with Fritzen and CRG Chris.
Oh, Melek. Melek, the two Alfa Romeos going side by side now.
3 wide.
Melek's trying to make it 3 wide down the inside, and he's going to pull it off. The Racing Point Reserve showing that he is here in full force. And Karma behind him in that Haas around the outside now for turn 14 into 50 now. And he has had an amazing start, Seb. Already up 5 positions from his starting grid slot, and that is exactly what the Haas guys want to see there. And let's just hope he's able to keep this momentum going. He just has so much grip on these mediums now. He's catching Melek at a rate of knots, Seb. Look at the pace that he has. We saw this pace, and Melek's in the pits now. I wonder if he got wing damage when he taps the Alfa Romeo on that back straight, but leading them away. And Captain Minor already picking up a 3-second time penalty, but leading them away. It is going to be Fritzen leading them away from Chris, and then S King. And then CJOS in 4th place, Rhapsody in 5th, Yama in 6th as well. So some very nice, well, racing and survival from these guys. But now lap 2 of this race, despite what the timing tower may be telling us. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, it is a common bug in this game. But yeah, not a lot of... Yeah, it's a feature of this game. Now, I might as well call it that. It's been in here so long. But a lot of... position shuffles in this back 10, but not so much in this front. Yama's made up 2 positions, Zamas down 1, Becky B down 1, but everyone else is holding it line of stern, and these top 3 have already broken DRS to CJOS behind, and that could be huge in this race set. CJOS needs to be in that 1 second, isn't that right?
You're exactly right. These DRS trains can really help you with about 2 tenths per lap. Like I said, if you can hold it through each section, you got this S section and then that last sector, you should be able to at least catch the guys in front with that DRS. It gives a fair bit of advantage, especially with that long back straight between 11 and 12. It looks like he just keeps fading away. He gains about 2 tenths through the corners and then loses it. He's gonna have to use all that overtake to try and keep up with them.
Well, he is well within that range now. A little bit of a lock up there on the front left, but as we'll start lap 3 now, DRS has been enabled. Chris setting the fastest lap of the race so far, 1 minute 34.236 for the Racing Point driver in his pursuit of that upgraded Mercedes car. Of course, not career mode upgrade, I'm talking about the Racing Point scandal, but you know, we'll leave that aside. DRS now enabled, and it is this point, Seb, lap 3, where these softer runners are going to start to feel a little bit. It isn't going to be completely detrimental. It isn't going to be the end of the world for them, unlike some other tracks that we have been to already this season. But they'll certainly be feeling it on those fronts, particularly that front right. Just doesn't like this track after the fast corners of turn 19, really, where you get all that heat in. You have a little bit of an opportunity to really cool it down, but after that, it is full force for those front tires.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That S section of Sector 1 does not do these tyres any justice, and you do get a nice big break for these tyres, but then you have turns 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, which just puts a load of pressure onto the tyres and just heats them up so much that you just don't really get a chance to cool them down properly.
Well, there we go. We just saw Karma make a pass on Maxime B. So Karma now up into 12th place off the start, which I do believe, and we'll double check this, is well, definitely the most that we have seen. And he's up 7 places, Seb. 7 places off the start in 3.5 laps. That is absolutely phenomenal from this Haas driver, and he is really just making those mediums work. We'll see if he has enough pace to catch up to Gabby. So currently 1.2 seconds. But really, he only needs 2 tenths to really get back in that DRS, and he's already pulling away a significant margin from Maxime B, already breaking that 1 second within a sector. So this Haas has a lot of pace, and he's just trapped in this grid and trying to make use of it on those medium tires.
Yeah, you can see the way he's driving the car. He's driving with urgency, isn't he? He's really flicking it through. It looks like a pad user, obviously, but when you're flicking it like that, you want the car to hook up, and he's just getting it. He's getting it, isn't he? It's hooking up nicely for him, especially in the race, which is you don't normally expect it, USA, but it might be these medium tyres just firing up nicely for him in these first several laps.
Well, the top 10 all have DRS on each other, except BTFU. He's trying to use some battery to get back in at that DRS range. Becky B having a little bit of a look to the inside, but he's way too far back behind Zamus to really make that lunge for 7th place. No real close gaps on the guys at the moment, as Captain Minor up the inside of Striffium for their battle in 17th. And the Red Bull Reserve driver gets it stopped in time. So a very, very nicely done move, and he's going to have to make a lot of those if he wants to make up that 3-second time deficit that he has already accumulated. And that's something we haven't really discussed too much. We talked about the invalidations, Seb, but track limit warnings as well over the 28-lap race. We have a yellow flag. That's Rhapsody. Rhapsody has had a spin at the final corner, and he is dropping down this grid like a stone as Karma is making the move now on Gabbyism. And, well, we talked about the softs overheating now, Seb, and Rhapsodies are definitely going to be overheating. And look at that Karma clean around the outside. Rhapsody, he is really struggling. Has he got wing damage?
I believe he does. I saw some M plate on the inside of the 20 wall.
Oh my goodness, so Maxime B is now stuck behind him. All these guys just trying to make their way around it. Seb, it isn't just an M plate. He is missing the entire left-hand portion of that front wing. So after a stellar performance last week out, he is just gone and thrown it all away. I don't know if there's been contact there in that lower part of the top 10. Of course, Stuart will have a look at it if there has been. But his race is really taking a massive hit. He'll get that wing replaced, but lap 5, the mediums? I don't know.
He'll have to pit for hards. They can last a fair bit of this race, but they're obviously not the best tyre, certainly around here. You've got to make sharp movements with that steering wheel, and hopefully the car will pick up. But on those hard tires, it's just makes it worse. It's very hard to find that grip, so you have to be very smooth instead, and you have to take a more geometric line through these corners.
As he continues to drop now, Captain Miner making his way through. Casquito taking a 3-second time penalty. Now Strifium, I'm sure, isn't too far away. Around, up the inside into turn 16. Very, very easy on a very, very, well, a limping Mercedes, as we'll call it. But we'll just have a quick look at these top three. As I actually know Cherry having a bit of a fight there with Gabox. They both have DRS. Does Gabox on the inside? Yes, he does. Up the inside goes the Alfa Romeo. And there we go. Cherry has to take the exit curb, and not much grip out there compared to the nice grey, or yeah, the grey tarmac. And there he goes. Gabox up into 13th place. So very, very nice to run.
Cherry wasn't the kindest into turn 1, was he? He turned in a bit on him, but Gabox had the wits about him, just trying to avoid that, and he got the move done at the end of the day. That's all that matters. He does have that time penalty next to his name, though, so he'll have to make some quick work now.
Yeah, some time penalties already coming through the screen. Everyone with that black and white flag on the timing tower currently only has a 3-second time penalty. No one's got up to 6 just yet. And thankfully for them, as I'd be quite concerned if they made it to 6 by lap 6. But there we go. Becky B up one more position now. Unfortunately, we missed that one. But he is now up behind his teammate. Up into 6th place, getting ahead of the Ferrari of Zamis. Zamis, he's a driver that's had a, a very up and down season as well. Maybe not to the extremes that we've seen Chris have in it since arriving, but he's had a couple great results, couple podiums here and there. France sticks out as one of his strongest tracks, but at the same time, he's had quite a few disappointing races as well, especially with Japan last week with that terminal damage in those tricky conditions. But we'll see if he's able to make it up. He is running very, very low on battery set, already down to around 20% as Malek is retired. Oh my goodness.
VSC.
Yeah, VSC has been deployed on lap 7 of this race. We're now right on board with Raptor to see if we can see that race point. And there he is. And how has he managed that one?
Just, you have to think, drop it on the throttle. I've done that a couple of times in time trial, but I've never seen that actually happen in a race before. So that's the first for me. But yeah, just on Zamis, just from the outside, just when I watch these races in my spare time, I often see that he's got the pace to challenge for those low point scoring positions and sometimes steal a couple of high point scoring positions, but something always tends to go wrong, and yeah, that's obviously not a great thing. I don't think he'll be too happy with that, but he's obviously, I believe, sent it. Oh, did he just jump Becky B? He has. He's absolutely caught him napping on the VSC restart. Wow, smart driving from Zamis.
There we go. Zamis making his way through, and he'll have the DRS as well because he was behind at the detection point, which was under VSC conditions. So really utilizing that VSC, and now Becky, well, he's going to have to do all that work over again. But 1.5 seconds between between Yama and Zamis. So Zamis won't have DRS a second time unless he's able to close that gap significantly in the last few corners. But another driver that was having a look that we were looking at on the VSC restart was Chris. These top three all sort of staying very, very close together. That gap's fluctuating between the 5 to 7/10 range, and I don't want to see it. Is that Strifium? Yeah, that's Strifium in the grass once again, Seb. He just can't seem to catch a break, can he?
It's the same spot as Melek did, but at least he's able to keep that car going. That's a positive from it. Just build on that positive and try and make something of this race from this point out. But yeah, as you were saying, these top three haven't really made a move. I think this is going to come down to pit stops. This is really going to come down to pit stops. Who will have the best out lap? Who will have the best in lap? Tends to be that your undercut can be, I believe, stronger.
Zamis has hit the sausage curb at turn number 9, and that's opened the door for Becky B now. They're side by side going into the braking zone of turn number 11. Becky B has the inside line. Zamis, he could get squeezed out here, but looks like Becky B has clearly made that through, and since he was behind this time, Becky B will have the DRS ahead, but Zamis, he's using all of that battery to try and stay with that Williams driver, but it isn't going to be enough. He has a look to the inside, but he has to defend from Casquito, who's made a massive, massive dive there. Squeezes Zamas out onto the exit curbing, but they are still side by side. Zamas now finding this into the third sector of the lap. Through turn number 13, they bang wheels into 14. They're still side by side into the tough braking zone of 15. Zamas looking for the switchback, but Casquito covers that one off. Now BTFU's getting on this, getting in on this action. He's looking around the outside of Zamas, looking for the switchback maybe into turn 18, 19. No, he can't quite find it. But Casquito making the most of the opportunities presented to him, and the young Renault driver has made that move stick. Amazing driving, amazing racing, but oh my goodness, that is quite the snap from the Renault.
Almost getting too excited. He's a smart driving though. He made that opportunistic move work. He had to work for it. Oh, Zamas looking for a dive. Oh, that's very, very, very opportunistic. Having a big look. As I said earlier on, turn 1 is a great spot to go for a big dive. Wide entry, thin exit. He almost got alongside, but wasn't close enough.
BTFU the next one to hit that 3-second time penalty mark. You just see him turn a little bit too early for turn number 6. And that's all it takes, I'm afraid. One mistake in that S section is going to completely ruin your run through the entire thing. But these top 5, Seb, they've really broken away.
They have. All that fighting just allowed them to break away. I just want to point out that Chris is on 90% ERS going into turn 11. He's really saving up. Fritzen's using a little bit of it. He's stuck at 50 to 60%, and S-King's all the way down at 20. So I believe Chris is in the prime position to take the lead here.
Zamas up the inside into turn 12, much like Casquito did on him the lap prior, and he has made that move stick before turn number 13, but it looks like Casquito having a look back at him. Oh, getting a little bit antsy there is the Ferrari driver, squeezing out that gap, just closing the door right in his face.
They're getting the elbows out. Yeah, I love it as well. This is hard but fair racing. You'll love to see it, especially when they can pull it off cleanly. As we have our first pits, that's Chris. Chris is into the pits. We'll see how this goes. It'll look like he'll go into the mediums, but this is big for the race. In the context of the race, how will this turn out? Yama's is in as well as Sejoss.
These soft tires really starting to die. Karma now right on the back of this fight between Casquito, Zamas, and BT. BT now has the Haas driver up the inside.
BTF.
Yeah, there he goes, and easy as you like there, up the inside. Now he's up one more. Next up is Casquito, and this is it. We've seen these guys at the front pit now. Chris up 13, but now that's a mistake. A mistake from the Haas driver means that BT is going to get past, and potentially Gabby as well. No, Gabby stays behind the Haas driver, but I'm very, very curious to see how these guys fare with traffic, as Chris, the lead runner, he has to get through this traffic as quickly as he can, because S-King and Fritzen, they're going to be pushing. They're going to be pushing to try and make that overcut work to cover off the undercut attempt from these guys behind. And now Chris, he's caught traffic at probably the worst place. He needs to get past not just one, but maybe 2 cars, because Shiri is almost dying softs as well, Seb. There he goes, Chris. With the DRS, he looks to the outside. This is going to be tight. Holt's defending it. He's entitled to do so. There's no blue flag condition, but Chris has made his way past. He has the inside line for 13 now. Purple, sector 2 for the American. And he's made his way through that traffic. Now let's see. What do the others do? Of course, Fritzen and S-King now diving into the pits. I expect Becky B to do the same as well. Yes, there he goes.
Chris has gained time on them. He's gained 1 second on them over the past 1.5 sectors, I should say. There's a good chance he gets both of them here.
Yeah, Chiri diving into the pits as well. That works wonders for the Racing Point driver. Has the DRS. He'll have the ERS at his disposal as well. Whereas Fritzen, you can see the Mercedes on the left-hand side. No, you can't. He's clean through. Fritzen has now been dispatched by Chris. Well, fortunately for him, he will get out in front of Holtz. But 1.5 seconds, that's a massive undercut there for the Racing Point. Well done from the Racing Point driver.
Yeah, he's done it. He's made a smart play here. Absolutely used that ERS.
Oh, around the outside.
Wow, what a move.
Hold on. Okay. All right, Chris. Outside of 8, that's showed it burning a bit, but that just goes to show the speed and the skill that he has in that Racing Point car. We'll see if Fritzen's able to dispatch Gambox much the same, 4/10 of a second. As that ERS has that DRS as well. He will get
Caught
past.
us both by surprise. That move, wow. Fritzen looking now down the inside. This should be a relatively easy move, Mick, and it is. He'll outbrake him.
Yeah, there he goes.
No, he won't. Yep, he's nice move. He had to do that. He's within DRS range of Chris, but
Oh,
he's have to
hello,
really...
behind them, S King on the hards, no less. That's something you don't see very often. But he's having a fight there with Yama and Holtz. Yama looked up the inside of 15. He's there. He's still got his nose in there side by side now, going into the triple right-hander. But S King has that inside line. But how much grip is those hards giving him? Of course, the wash of dirty air is going to affect Yama's performance through turn number 19. But they both missed the apex by a country mile there, Seb. But they both keep it within the track limits. But man, I'm pretty sure I can say, well, you have to say your signature line there for that overtaking the turn 8. Play that one some music. And there he goes, Chris. Chris up the inside of Maxime. And he's got clean air now.
It's absolutely caught us by surprise how easy it's been for him. You had that other move before. I can't remember who was on. It was a nice move around the outside of at turn 12.
Yeah, Holtz.
It was given the respect by Holtz, and he took it, and he absolutely he kind of minced him, and he's wow. I'm still shocked by it, but Fritzen's got to make up this time now. He's got to use all that ERS to get by Maxine. He's got to drive cleanly as well at the same time.
Well, I think this is the slingshot that he needs. He's got to really burn this ERS, use the CRS to try and get a little bit closer, because Chris, of course, won't have it at Stryfium. Unfortunate to see him there retire in the pit lane, but has been a tough race for that Ferrari. But that means that all of Ferrari's hopes now lie on Zamis in the 13th place. And speaking of that Ferrari, he's going for a move now on Larkin on those fresh mediums up the inside, easy as you like, into turn number 12. And that is the Ferrari now up into 12th place. So nicely done there for the Ferrari. But
oh my,
these guys are so close. S King and Yama, yeah, going into 15 once again.
Yeah, they're just going at it. Yama's having a lot of looks down the inside, and S King's is just defending it, and Yama's still having the looks. So I'm almost thinking they're going to crash eventually, the way they're going about it. But we'll see. They look like they've got enough skill to not crash each other, judging from the small sample size I've seen in the past 3 laps. But they're getting very antsy, these two.
Yeah, and S King now using all the resources. He might go for a dive. He goes for the dive! Massive dive on Gabox, but he pulls the car up. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that's just what you're able to do at turn 1 here at Cosa. An amazing move late on the brakes there for the Chilean. And he is clean ahead into the S section, and that could be huge for his fight with Yama, because he is on those hard compound tires. They aren't going to have as much grip. They might have a little bit more grip compared to the mediums at the end of the race, but as things stand right now, he is, well, probably one of the slower guys on this field at the moment, Seb.
Yeah, he's going to get swallowed up by those two Williams. Becky B's now into the back of this pack after going for the overcut, which didn't really work. He's nearly about to run into the back of his teammate. Jeez. Got to be a bit careful there, Becky. Yeah. You may have won the championship, but you don't want to take out your teammate.
Yeah, the both championships might be on the wrap, so you don't want to hurt this. Oh, he might go for the double.
Oh, look at this.
He's going to go for the double. Is he going to dive the inside of his teammate? Yes, he is. Becky B. Oh, my goodness, and he's going to make that one stick, Seb.
Great vision right there. I mean, it's a weird word to put when you're talking about racing, but the vision to be able to just kind of plan that ahead and just see that he got a better run than Garbox and Yamamoto, so he just got able to send it on that ERS and get a great run out of the corner. Smart thinking from Becky. That's why he's a championship winner.
Yeah, so Casquito now defending from BTFU as the two McLarens have now exchanged. I don't know if that was team orders there or that was a genuine overtake. Could have honestly been both, knowing these two. But the important thing now is that C-Joss is ahead of Maxime B, and he's able to push that 4-second gap that he needs to close to get to Fritzen in front. But now Chris, where is he going to make this move now? He's now caught up to his next bit of traffic, Gabison, and that car's just hooked up. Look at the rotation.
He's so on top of it as well. You could see the car sliding. Look at that. It's just sliding on the entry of turn 8. He's just able to hold it. It's just great car control, and he should be able to get the move done. Hopefully he doesn't steal it. Yeah, he'll get the RS as well. He's on top of it. He knows what he's doing.
He is in full control of this race at the moment, Seb. I don't think there's really anything at this point in time that could stop him. He is on a roll. Has that DRS now to pull away a little bit from Gabby. Fritzen is out of that DRS. So that gap that he got from the undercut has been maintained. Fritzen keeping him honest pace-wise. But just the clear skill that Chris is getting, is showing to get through this traffic. And he's getting through it at probably one of the worst spots to catch the traffic as well, but he's not letting that phase him whatsoever, Seb. As we see Casquito and BTFU go side by side, Larkin in the other Renault looking to get in on this action. Not quite able to find it just yet. But S-King getting past Maxime B as well now into turn number 16. And that's going to put yet another car between himself and Yama. Those two having a little bit of a duel as well. But in the context of the fight for second place in the championship, Sejos looking very, very nice for this race so far.
Yeah, exactly. He is well ahead of S-King, who's on those hards. Don't expect him to make a lot of waves right now, but he might make some moves later on in the race with those hard tyres lasting a bit better than those medium tyres.
Oh, Becky B!
Look around the outside of Maxime B. Look at Becky. Will he try and make it stick? He's going to get squeezed off the track, and he'll have to wait for another time on Maxime B. Ooh.
He tried it. He tried it. He tried the inside once, then he said, you know what, I'm going to try the outside, you know? I want to just assert my dominance, assert my authority here on this grid. Unfortunately, just didn't quite work out for him, but he needs to clear this McLaren.
He's very close. He could go for a run here into turn 11, Mick. Oh, he's kind of falling away, though.
Yeah, I think he's just going to wait for that DRS as S-King now. Oh, my goodness! Almost hitting the back of Maxime B, much like he did to his, was close to his teammate now. And Chris, important to note now, has taken the lead of things. He's passed Karma into turn number 12, and that is the American now in the effective lead and the actual lead of this race. 15 of 28 laps passed in this one. Maxime B, Becky B having a fight. The two B boys going at it into turn 14, into 15. Is Maxime B not going to have a look up the inside? No, he's not. But Yama is. Hold on. Hold on there.
That was a bit rude. Made it stick. There might be a bit of complaints about that. Not too sure, but
yeah, I don't know about that one. I mean, Maxime B, he won't be too happy.
Yeah, the fact is he's had to push him off the track to make the move done. There could be a potential inquiry about that.
Yeah, not the cleanest overtake we've seen, but he's made it work nonetheless. And that is the Williams now right behind his teammate once again as Holtz pulls into the pit lane. First of the runners, as I assume, to put on that soft compound tyres. 12 laps. Bit long, but definitely doable with the lower fuel. Now Gabox right on the back of Casquito as well. Casquito has that tyre advantage, but no, that gap's still very, very close. BTFU now stuck behind this Alfa Romeo. He's gotten the run out of turn 9, Seb. He's looking up the inside. Is he going to go for it? He has to. There he goes. Up the inside. Even cuts the apex. So, gee, breaking a little bit too early. Trying to play it safe. But he has that DRS to try and pull away from the Alfa Romeo. But the Alfa Romeo will have the slipstream. Which one's more powerful? DRS or slipstream? It's going to be ERS. ERS is the answer, Seb. Looks like Gabox down to 5%. And BTFU cleanly through for that 12th place.
Yeah, he's also on fresher tyres as well. Helps a fair bit when you're trying to get a good traction out of a traction-dependent zone. Got Casquito now to go. Similar life tyres here, but both fighting out for potential points positions with Karma, Gabism, and Maxime ahead on older tyres.
Well, there we go. We see Karma and Gabby into the pits, off of those mediums, and Maxime B as well, to put on those soft compound tyres. We'll see if Rhapsody actually does the same on those 9-bolt hards in last place. I mean, he's got nothing to lose at this point. Maybe wait a little bit longer to steal fastest lap from those guys in the top 10. I know you're very familiar with that one, Seb. But we
you
won't
don't sound salty out of the ball.
Yeah, definitely not. We won't talk about that one here. But what we will talk about is that S-King's put up another penalty. He's now on to 6 seconds on those hards.
Casquito's on for something here. We've also got Karma and Gabby, as we've talked about before, who just pit. They're on those soft tyres. They can make some waves later on. Especially, I'd say 5 laps. They could really, really muck up this field here.
Yeah, I mean, Karma's still in the points. Net in the point, a little bit higher in the points as well with those penalties up ahead. And he's going to have just bucket loads of grip on those fresh softs. So we'll see what he's able to do. Currently, the closest gap on track is this one between Rhapsody and Gabox, going through turns 9 and 10. As BTFU now looks like he is falling just outside DRS range of Casquito. He actually might have it. No, he's in the third sector lap. Of course, he won't have it just yet. But he's dancing on that bubble, Seb. And he needs that DRS. And he can really afford to use some of that ERS as well. You know, Casquito, he's really pushing down to 30%. BTFU's up over double of what the Renault driver in front of him has. So he really has that opportunity to use some of that ERS, particularly in these traction zones, particularly once he's got the traction in those tires, to really just get that little bit extra push that he needs to pass. But he's just not doing it at the moment. I don't know what the long-term game plan is. And the longer that he waits, the closer and closer that Karma is going to get. So he needs to not only look ahead of him, but also look behind him at the same time.
Yeah, and Karma's also set a purple sector 3. That could be a glitch, but I doubt it would be.
Oh, Maxime!
Ooh!
Maxime up the inside, late on the brakes, using those softs, and that is an easy move.
At the exact same time, BTFU had a moment through the S section, and Karma set a purple sector 1. So he's really within striking distance here.
Maybe this is the plan, because Karma's going to overtake BT regardless. You know, the tire advantage and the pace advantage that Karma has shown in this this race so far. You know, no contest. Like, you can see, it's a done deal. It's a done deal that he's going to get past. Hopefully, yeah, there he goes. So maybe he's using Karma to catch back up to Casquito and maybe force Casquito offline. Maybe that's quite the...
I wouldn't be surprised. That's very smart if that's what he's doing. If he's doing that, that's a great plan, because he's going to be stuck about 7 tenths, 8 tenths behind Casquito for the rest of the race, I believe. And by having Karma and Casquito fight, he should be able to gain close and potentially make a move.
Oh, just look at this. He's so close into turn 19. He has to brake a little bit early to avoid those track limits and avoid running into the back of the Renault. See what he's able to do. There we go. Overtake, ERS, fastest time of the race to boot as well. It's beaten by Gabby's behind them, and that's easy as you like. But we'll see how well this plan works for BTFU. He's gained about a 10th, if that.
And no more.
Yeah, so backfired a little bit, but you know, there's a second chance, because there's this flying Red Bull behind him as well. So
Yeah, exactly right. Gabby, he's not got the same pace as Karma, obviously, but he's on the fresher tyres, so he should be able to make something work, because Cherry picks up that 3-second penalty, but expect the move to be done. Look how little ERS Gabby has, though.
yeah, down to 9% into the braking zone of turn 11. Not exactly ideal, and he's really using a lot of it. And BT will have that DRS as well, so I think that Gabby isn't going to pass, and he's not going to pass for a long time as long as BT manages that battery, which has been doing superbly all race. This isn't over. This isn't a done deal for these two behind. And BT, he has found the gap. He has found that little bit extra pace to find a couple extra tenths on that Renault in front of him. All these guys having penalty. We'll have a quick look at the penalties right now. Oh, SK actually on 9. SK is actually on 9 seconds of penalties there in 4th position. Cherry on 6. Gabox on 6. Captain Minor on 6. And the rest of them on 3 seconds. But yeah,
I think...
there we go. Karma. 32-3.
Good chance S-King drops out of points here.
Ooh, Becky B.
Ooh.
At turn 1, no less. That's something you don't see very often.
Cutting the inside, probably. That's what
Yeah,
you
must have.
expect out of turn 1. Obviously, you have to keep at least one tyre within track limits to avoid getting a warning from this game, at least most of the time. So he's obviously cut too much. He hasn't cut so much that he's taken out the bollard on the inside, but he's cut too much.
Wait, if he hasn't taken the ball out on the inside, he's either turned in, like, he must have run wide then.
You don't normally see them getting it for running wide, because you don't get that good of traction, but he is within close range of S-King, so that is very interesting.
He has that 3-second gap to Yama, but I don't know if he'll have it to Zamis. Oh, massive dive there from the Ferrari. Gladly we just caught on to that one. Zamis making his way through. You can see behind the Casquito and BTFU. BTFU now finally going for the attack on the Renault.
Look at Karma.
Around the outside.
Whoa.
Gabby's there as well. Gabby's now through. Outside into the inside. He goes a little bit deep into that corner. And there's contact. There's contact between himself and the Renault driver. Gabby Sim has to do that work all over again. Yama Close to the back of Karma now as well, but it isn't going to be quite enough. But I'm sure the Red Bull driver, Gabby, isn't going to be too happy with that one. Running wide at turn number 19, that's surely going to be a warning unless he lifted there. But this is round number 2. BCFU, he has the battery. He has the DRS, but he's not using the battery. This is what I don't understand at the moment. What is BC's long game plan? I don't quite understand it. He has the battery. He has the resources. He has the pace to pull a gap once he gets past this runner driver, but just isn't pulling the trigger. I don't know what he's waiting for, Sam.
Only thing I can think of, he's worried about Cascado's pace, so he believes when he overtakes him, Cascado's going to get right past him, so he's probably waiting for a last lap move. Meanwhile, while all that chaos was happening, Karma got by Yamamoto, and they were really getting their elbows out.
Or Seb, it's to put pressure on Casquito, have the pressure on the Renault, instead of on the AlphaTauri, and force him into mistakes like the one he just made. Another 3-second time penalty for the Renault driver as S King and Becky B, the rivals at the start of the season, now going side by side into the corner. Not really too much contest there. Karma as well making his way past Zamus on that back straight as well. So very, very nicely done between those two. We'll now have a look back at Maxime B. Up the inside of Cherry into turn 12. We've seen a lot of overtakes there, and just the nature of that corner, Seb, it just asks. It just, you know, begs for overtaking to be done there.
Like turn 1, wide entry, thin exit. It's really inviting to send one down the inside, considering how wide it is, and it's really good for switchbacks as well. Especially if you're defending and someone does send a big lunge down the inside.
We have a heli shot of this fight for 9th place. BT to the outside. Is it going to work? Gabby inside, switch back on the two of them. Traction softs. It's now going to be almost too wide. Into the S's. Oh, there's contact between the two again. And Casquito's off in the grass. Back onto the track. Oh my goodness. Holy moly. Oh my goodness, BT's also dropped back a lot, very, very far from Gabby. I'm not quite sure what happened to him.
That was 3 wide into turn 2, and Casquito's cut off BDFU because Gabby was in the outside cutting off Casquito, so that is turned into absolute mayhem.
Wow, that's whew. That might have to be looked at the end of the race, but what a move there from Gabby. Even though it wasn't the cleanest, just the switchback on not one but 2 cars, and Casquito's been tapped again. Maxime B gave him a little bit of a love tap out of turn 11. That's going to mean an easy move there for the McLaren, and Cheery as well. We have a yellow flag set to 1. That looks like Rhapsody. Rhapsody is out of this race. Has he crashed?
Looks like he's pulled to the side. No, he's pulled to the side
just
before turn 11.
I don't know exactly how he's ended up backwards.
That's very interesting, actually. Yeah.
I don't know how he's done that, but what I do know is that Yes King is within range now of Becky B. Can he find the speed that he needs? He's gaining to start, and 11 laps on these mediums. They won't be feeling great. They won't be feeling horrible, but they won't be feeling great, Seb.
Yeah, it's time to start managing them, but you can't really manage them when you got a raging AlphaTauri behind you. Now, although S King was in front of Becky B before, those hards obviously last longer than the mediums, so and they're on the same lifespan at the same time, so expect S King to potentially save ERS here, unless he has to use it to keep within range, and then use it later on. He's got Karma behind him, who's on a real charge, isn't he, Mikhail?
Yeah, up to 6th place. We'll have a quick look at the position changes while we're here. He's up 13, Seb. Up 13 places from his starting position. Means he started in 19th. There's a yellow flag set to 1. It's not Karma, it's Casquito once again. There's an end plate as well in the gravel. That might be an Alfa Romeo's end plate. He was going side by side with Holtz. Does Holtz have an end plate missing? Yes, he does. Left-hand side, Seb.
Oh, I wonder if he's dropped and then Holtz has run into the back of him or something like that. I wonder if that's the case. But hard to judge from there. A lot of things can happen in the S section.
Now, let's talk about Karma for a second. 13 positions gained, and he wants more.
He will get more.
He is gaining
He should
so
get
much.
more.
You should get both of these guys here. Even, he'll get them on penalties regardless, but I think he'll get them both on track as well for a 19th to 4th place, which will be an absolutely amazing result.
Oh, no, it's too far. I was going to say.
Maybe not from that far back.
He
But
kind of,
SK,
he kind of dropped off a bit. Yeah, he dropped off a bit, and I was thinking maybe he could have sent it, but it would have been very exciting. You were saying?
yeah, SK missing the apex there of turn 1. Losing a bit of time to Becky B in front of him. But another thing, look at that bottom right-hand corner. I'm seeing a yellow fuel light flicker on and off, so he's running as pretty much as light as he can at this stage of the race. Casquito into the pits, unsurprisingly. I mean, that race just went from great to okay to absolutely dreadful in the space of 2 laps. So
on for points, and it's just all fallen away.
yeah, S-King using that DRS to stay with Becky B. He's actually gaining on Becky B quite substantially. 2/10 now the gap. Not close enough to make a dive. He almost runs to the back of the Williams from the view of this Haas. But speaking of moves being made, I think Gabby up the inside into turn 12. We've seen this, I don't know how many times, Seb. But he's cleanly through. He's done it. Up 8th place. He now has 3 seconds to pull what I believe might be 6 seconds on penalties. Yes. 6 seconds, 4 laps, maybe not entirely possible, but he should get BTFU for an easy 9th place as well.
Yeah, you'd suspect so. He's had a good drive, but it's been kind of quiet for Gabby.
Okay, now, here we go. Round 2 of these.
Round
The
2.
fight for 4th place for S-King. He has the straight line speed. Karma can't find a way. As long as S-King has that DRS, Karma has going to have to find another way. He can't use turn 1. He can't use turn 12. The 2 easiest overtaking spots. So he's going to have to get creative here. We've seen Chris get creative before. And speaking of Chris, 9/10 now. Fritzen has pulled the gap into DRS range. That could be trouble.
Yeah, this could get exciting. We've got 2 battles, 2 highest point scoring battles looming up right now, and Fritzen's making those slightly fresher medium tires work as Karma's having looks at S-King, but he's not really able to make anything work. What Karma should do right now is just save that ERS. If he wants to get the move done on track, just save it. Try and use it on 27-28.
He's gaining. Is it going to be enough? He's a little bit closer than the last time.
Looking.
He's looking, but it isn't quite enough.
S-King has no ERS. That's why he was gaining. S-King had absolutely depleted it, just trying to stay ahead. But look at Fritzen and his gap to Chris now.
Oh my goodness, yeah, we see, just looking at this fight in the lower positions, Larkin able to get past Tholtz through turn 10 into 11. We'll see if Holtz has a little bit of an answer before we have to go on to this fight at the front. Actually, we think we might need to. Oh, he's close. He's so close. 3 laps to go. 13%. Chris has 35. He has the ERS to defend. Now the 2 Alfa Romeos going side by side through things. It's like Holtz letting Gabox through there. But yeah, oh my goodness. These 2. Okay, so Chris was able to get the undercut. 1.5 seconds was the gap between these 2 after that undercut. But now these mediums are going to be dead. These mediums are going to be dead.
He had to put a lot of effort into those tyres early on in the stint, obviously trying to get past traffic and make a gap on Fritzen, and that gap's just gone away now. Fritzen's probably done a better job of looking after the tyres and maybe just not overdriving the car as much, but look how close he is. These could be on for a move here. He may have no ERS, but he has DRS, Mick.
Yeah, so he goes, he's gaining, he's within dive range, Seb, and he's going to go for it to the inside. Goes the Mercedes car, they're now both locking up into the corner. Fritzen gives Chris a good old squeeze, but Chris is holding it there on the inside lane. We have an absolutely amazing helicopter cam. This is the fight for the lead, ladies and gentlemen. And look at the grip of the Mercedes, but the Racing Point inside for 15. Around the outside, it looks like Fritzen has got the move done, but can he hold on? He's got 0. Basically 0 ERS in the tank. Chris now has the DRS, and if I've been, I haven't been in this situation too many times, but you can see Chris, he snap at the rear. Snap at the rear means he can't go for the move this time, which gives Fritzen another sector to try and charge that ERS just a little bit more. Chris, that car rotates nicely, but it rotates a bit too much on the exit. We saw that at turn 15. We saw that there again at turn 20. Could the pressure be getting to this American? Could his home race win be slipping out of his fingertips, Seb?
Potentially. He's got to maintain composure at the moment. His tyres obviously, as you can tell by that slip before, they're not really hooking up for him. he out of the first corner, it didn't even look like he got that great of a traction as well. And you just see he's slowly losing time on Fritz, and he's gonna have to make use of that ERS and at least stay within DRS range for a chance on the final lap.
They're now both very, very low on ERS. They're both basically on 0. Fritzen is on 0. Chris, massive lunge. Up into turn 12. There's contact. They lock wheels yet again. Chris has another snap. From that rear end. We were praising the rotation in that car, but when the tires are gone, you don't want that. Especially in a fight for the race lead. They are now equal on ERS. Fritzen has the 1 lap fresher tires, and Chris is choking.
Yeah, these tires are they're at 100 degrees, and if you look at Fritzen's onboard, you can see his tires only just hit it sometimes. Chris is at 100 degrees most of the time. This is really, really tedious stuff right now. I don't think he'll be able to get the win, Mikhail. He's going to have to really pull something out of the bag here.
Well, there we go. We are now on lap 28 of 28, ladies and gentlemen. The final lap, the final 5 or so kilometers for these two drivers to get the win here, the full 25 for this race. Chris, I'm sure it would mean the absolute world to him to get a win around his home track. But there's one Mercedes standing in his way. 6 tenths, 7 tenths is the gap.
He's overdriving.
He's overdriving this car. He's at 8 tenths. 8.5 now. He's got no battery. I don't know if he's going to do it. This is his last feasible chance unless Fritzen gets a penalty in the last sector. He's lost time again.
Traction. Wow. You just tell he was overdriving the car so much. He's fighting so hard with it. Just trying to make something happen. He just can't. Meanwhile, we had a fight for P4 going on. Karma's got a good run on.
Yes, Karma on Becky B as well. Has the run to the outside. And easy does it. Easy as you like there. No, actually, no, not quite. Karma side by side with the champion.
Look out for Becky, though.
He's gone for that. Oh, my goodness. S-King. Oh, being very opportunistic. Trying to maybe switch back. No, he goes for the outside into the last couple of corners. But we'll have to go off of this fight to go on board with this Mercedes, who has made this strategy work. It is the Mercedes Fritzen who will take the win here at COTA in Austin, Texas. Chris will have to settle for second best, but we'll now go back on this fight as Cedros will now take up third, Karma in fourth. How the penalty is going to go. S-King has another penalty, and he's going to fall like a stone through this grid. Samus up to fifth, Becky sixth, S-King down into the eighth now, Gabby is seventh, but it looks like that he'll hold on. Actually, no, he won't. Yama 7th.
12 seconds.
Gabby 8th. VT 9. S-King. I'll have to settle for 10th. Maxime B just outside the points at 11th. Chiri in 12th. We actually still have a fight here in the lower positions. Captain Minor inside 19. Hello. Can he get it stopped in time? Yes, he can. And Holtz has no answer. Holtz has no answer to this. Captain Minor will come across the line in 14th place, but is it on penalties? No, he'll lose that anyway on penalties. Very, very unfortunate. And Gabox will round out the 16 finishes in that Alfa Romeo. So not the result that Alfa Romeo we're looking for in this one. But man, oh man, what a fight to the finish.
That was a great fight. Congratulations to Fritzen, because I wouldn't say he was nowhere, but we weren't really keeping an eye on him because we thought Chris had kind of wrapped it up, but in the dying 5 laps or so, he really picked it up and he surprised us all, didn't he?
He certainly did. And that one's going to hurt for Chris. That one has going to hurt. You make the undercut work. You were out of DRS. You had some amazing overtakes to get through the traffic, and in the end, the tires just gave out when it counted the most. But congratulations to Fritzen, the Indian there, taking the race win away from the hometown, well, the home country here. I don't know exactly if it's hometown. I might have to double check on that one. But there we go. It is Fritzen, the reserve driver. He got pole position. He got into the 28s, and he was able to convert the full 25 points for the Pirates. And then Chris will have to settle for second best. 1 second off. He had it in the bag, but just wasn't quite close enough. Cjos will round off the podium. Another fantastic and consistent performance from him. Cjos really showing some great consistency over the past few rounds. Karma will take it the fourth place. The Argentine 19th to 4th, Seb, with fastest lap. An amazing, amazing job there from the Haas driver. Zamas there in 5th for the Ferraris. Unfortunate to see his teammate not finish this race. Becky B, the champion, down there in 6th after a 3-second time penalty. Yama in 7th. He will go once again next to his teammate. Both Williams losing one, well, gaining one place, I should say, each. Gabism 13th to 8th for Red Bull. And then we have the two AlphaTauris, BTFU leading S King in 9th and 10th. Outside the points, we have Maxime B from McLaren, Chiri in the Haas, the Spaniard, doing very, very nicely, moving up a couple spots in to 12th. Larkin from 17th to 13th, the Tier 2 Americas driver, having a nice showing in this one. Holtz 15th to 14th in this one. Captain Minor 20th to 15th, and he will be one of the last finishers there. And I do believe that was Gabox, the last finisher for this race. But Seb, just any words whatsoever to just sum up that race?
That was a great race with some amazing racing. It wasn't a chaotic race, but it was just some great racing and some great strategy calls. So unfortunate for Chris. He had a great drive, and the tyres just, I guess, gave way to him at the end. But well done to Fritz, and well done to Sejos as well. It was kind of quiet, but he did what he needed to do, and he got that podium. And also an amazing drive from Karma. He's my driver of the day, Mick.
Oh
He
yeah,
pulled everything out of
absolutely.
the bag today. Fastest lap, absolutely brilliant moves, great driving, great pace as well.
Yeah, you can't forget Chris either in that, driver of the day slot. He had the pace. He made the undercut work. He had some insane, insane overtakes. That one around the outside of turn 8 is really going to stand out. Hopefully you'll ask him about that one when you interview him after CJOS. But yeah, Chris, a phenomenal performance, but in the end it just wasn't quite enough. We'll get interviews underway then, and joining us first is the third place finisher, Sejos. Sejos, a bit of a quiet race for you this one, but a very, very nice points finish nonetheless. Just give us your thoughts after those 28 laps.
28 laps of boredom. I was kind of just in there driving alone for the entire second stint. But um, besides that, I mean, seemed like it was a pretty good race up at the front two people because um, yeah, they were both really battling it, and that was good to see.
Well, this will extend your gap to Yama for that runner-up spot in the championship. Now only 3 rounds to go. We have Mexico, Brazil, and Abu Dhabi, and you've been on some amazing form recently. Can we expect to see that continue for the last few rounds of the season?
Yeah, I sure hope so. I mean, Mexico is one of my favorite tracks, so I mean, looking forward to how that goes, and um, I think it'll be an interesting one, to be honest.
Yes, we'll certainly hope so. Well, thank you for your time, Sejos, and congratulations on the third place finish.
Thank you.
All right, Seb, I'll now hand it over to you to interview the runner-up, Chris. Chris, so close, but yet so far at the same time. Just really unfortunate to see you there in second place, but great job with the undercut. Seb, take it away. If you please.
That's
Sebastian?
dead.
Sebastian? No?
I
Oh,
think he's
well,
dead.
okay, his mic's not working, apparently. Well, I'll take over this interview then. So, Chris, you made that undercut work. It was a very, very close battle between yourself and Fritzen on pace, basically that entire time. You went for that undercut, made it work, had some insane, insane overtakes. But it just slipped out of your grasp in those last few laps. Just what was wrong with the car for those last few laps? Was it the tires overheating? The tires weren't? Yeah, like that's just what happened.
Yeah, I mean, with about like 8 laps, 10 laps to go, I was like, I'm definitely winning this. But then like, I don't know, in the last like 5 laps, the tires just like fell off completely. The indicator came on, it was still fine, but then when the indicator turned to orange, it just like went completely. But it was sliding around all over the place, especially in sector 3. Like sector 1 was fine, even though Fritzen had better pacer all day. Sector 2, obviously, it's mainly just like a straight, and then sector 3, it was just like driving on ice, really. So my mistake out of turn 17 that really helped Fritzen get within a good gap of me, and then I was told that he had like no ERS left, so I'm like, okay, he's not gonna overtake me here on like lap like 26 or whatever it was, and then he just flew past. I like the DRS is crazy here. It's crazy. Um, and then like I tried taking him back, but it didn't really work. Yeah, tires just went. It was at like 80+% at the end, 85%, 80, 90%. I was lucky I didn't get a puncture. I don't know how I don't know how I didn't get a puncture, but you know, still P2. I had to go for the undercut, or else it would have just been stagnant behind Fritz in the whole race. So yeah, still happy with the result.
Yeah, just one last one from me. How was it? After that undercut, you caught traffic fairly early in that outlap of yours. Just how was it going through that traffic, and especially that move around the outside of turn 8? I mean, that one was absolutely incredible.
Oh, you guys saw that?
Yeah,
Yeah, let's go.
that was there.
All right. Yeah, it was yeah, I wanted to come out in front of that train, but then I came out inside of it. I was like, all right, I've done this before. I remember like doing the same sort of thing like 2 years ago, F1 VL season 1. I was like, all right, I'll do it again. So I sort of just tried to drive as if they weren't there, sort of thing. Sort of maneuvering myself in and out of it and going for the overtakes when I could. And I think that was my best part of the race, getting through that traffic. I definitely got through it better than Fritzen did. We were just talking about that, but yeah, that was definitely fun going for that traffic and gaining time on Fritzen as well in the process. And that overtake around the outside of turn 8. I sort of planned it going into turn 1. I was like, okay, I'm gonna gain on him throughout these S's since I have much better tires. So yeah. So and by the time I was already around the outside of turn 8, I think it was Gabizum. I think he just conceded because he knew he didn't want to cause a collision, and it was fair play on his part, making that possible.
Well, congratulations on the runner-up spot. It could have been the win, but again, I'm sure after the disasters that have been these past 2 rounds, being back up here on the podium surely has got to feel nice. So congratulations again on that second place, and we hope to see you really fight for the front next week in Mexico.
Thank you.
Well, now the man of the hour, Fritzen, our P1 race winner. Fritzen, you got undercut there from Chris. We were just speaking to him earlier, but those tires for that racing point just died at the end, and you were able to get past. Was there any worries at all, after you saw that, okay, he made like 1.5 seconds or so on you? Was there any worries during that middle stage of the race that you wouldn't be able to get that win back, or was it always under control?
I wouldn't say exactly under control at the cockpit. Lap 9, I thought that like it was really early to pit because I was even planning to go lap 11, but I was forced to pit lap 10. And so like I was like, oh, because it was Chris, and I know Chris, he's super rapid in race trims, so I knew it was gonna be hard. But as soon as I saw that I was sticking with him, I knew that the end of the race would be like a payback for me.
Yeah, just run us through those dying few laps, because we saw that you were very low on battery for probably like the last 2 to 3 laps, but you were still able to gain on that racing point. So how are you feeling those last 3 laps when it's like, okay, there's a chance, he's there, I'm in his DRS now, there's a chance?
Yeah, I was like, I was catching, and then lap 25, I got the DRS, and I was like, yeah, this is my moment to strike. I can't leave this too late. And with the ERS, it didn't even affect me really because the DRS was like super powerful. And for some reason, I just had a really good straight line speed. I don't know if it was setup related, but yeah. And then lap, I think it was 27 or 28 or 26, I had to go for it. And I just tried to keep it under control, minimize contact, and yeah, pick up the win.
Well, last one from me. Of course, you've picked up the 25 points for the Pirates this season, but the season is coming to a close. Can we expect to maybe see you make a full-time appearance next season in either Americas or Tier 1? Because you've certainly got the pace for it, my friend.
Yeah, I guarantee I'll be back as a full-time driver in either Americas or some other tier, but definitely MRL. I will. This is not the final appearance of me.
Well, there you go. An announcement there from today's race winner. Well, congratulations, Fritz, and I'll let you go celebrate that amazing, amazing performance, my friend. Well done.
Okay, thank you guys.
Well, that about wraps things up. Seb, I don't know if your mic's decided to stop playing tricks on
Hopefully
you.
it's working.
There we go.
Is it
All right,
working?
got you
There we
back, my
go.
friend. Just, you know, we've heard from all three of those guys. You know, Sejos a bit of a boring race, but those front two, you know, mad respect for each other. You know, you could just hear it. You know, Chris was like saying, you know, Fritzen, he had the pace, and Fritzen, you know, it was no slouch in that race. You know, very even on pace, and I'm sure those two would have a great rivalry if they both stay in the same grid next season. But Seb, any closing remarks before we end the stream off today?
I just hope I get to do this again sometime. It was a load of fun. Congratulations to those top three. Brilliant drives from all of them, and top of that, Karma as well. Very keen to see what he can do when he starts at the front of the grid in the future.
Yes, Karma, you know, outside of the podium, so we didn't get to hear from him, but he had an amazing race. Amazing. Just a load of great racing here at COTA this evening. I'm sure that a lot of these drivers were very thrilled with that one. Just a quick one from me. Be sure to check in tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. That is 8 p.m. for those in the UK if you're night owls. For the Tier 2 race. Where the Tier 2 drivers will be going around the Circuit of the Americas, and then Tier 1 will follow on Thursday. And oh boy, if the track record gets matched in Americas here, I'm scared for that Tier 1 race, man. That is going to be absolutely rapid. But and then again, massive shout out to our partners, Next Level Racing, !NLR in the chat to get a link to their website. If you're looking for a sim rig, you know, regardless of your price point, they're all great quality and really get the job done. So exclamation mark NLR and exclamation mark event if you want to have your chance at winning an Next Level Racing FGT light rig there from our lovely partners. But that is going to be all from us. We hope you enjoyed, and well, we'll see you back in the next stream.